Am I really that much to handle? Breaking these niggas down like a camel. You don't really know you are.
Hey guys, welcome if you're new, and welcome to my channel if you're maybe. Anyways, so today's video is another Rent Diaries. This is a sad tragedy story that I stumbled across a couple days ago on my For You page, and I was devastated by how this family was treated, and them being Somali, which is like, you know, icing on the cake, because it's like, I'm Somali, you know, well, part Somali. I have deep sympathy towards them even more, because it's not only are they Somali, but they're another black family that's being mistreated by the system. Hospitals are always mistreating black kids, African kids, kids of my skin tone in hospitals, pregnant mothers, you name it. They're always mistreating them. Because of that, it's always been a dear heart of mine. So I wanted you guys to take some time in honor of my birthday week, my birthday month. The Rent Diaries this week is about Decca and her son, her family, and their circumstances with their son, Mahad, and how they mistreated him from the moment he was in that womb. Before he even made his appearance into this world, they were already doing things to him. And Decca, being a nurse herself, knew that some things they were doing, or they were like having her be seen multiple times a week, twice a week, was not normal and okay and healthy. But they ignored her wishes, and she went along with it because she's like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's all in my head type of vibes. So, you know, and then things escalated from one thing to another. And guys, the clip that I watched is about 14 minutes long. Please do watch it, because this is devastating and very sickening, that the fact that they actually did this to this family, to an innocent baby who had no part in being mistreated that way, who is just, it makes it harder for us women of color to comfortably give birth or want to have children in this country. And now more and more women of color are leaning towards home births because of the fact that the medical field does not treat us as humans. They feel like we don't feel any pain because we are black. We don't feel no pain because black people have tougher skin. But we're all human beings. We're all the same. There's no need to make us feel less than, right? All we're asking is for some form of empathy and consideration when it comes to, especially when it comes to childbirth, you know? So that being said, I want you guys to go ahead and watch this clip first, the first clip first, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you guys about it.
No parent should have to fight this hard to care for their child, to hold their child, and to comfort their child. As you saw, my son was completely robbed of life. And to justify that, we have been criminalized.
The story you're about to hear is one of the most disgusting, depraved, horrific things I have ever heard in my entire life. And I'm not saying that to warn you so that you'll swipe past this video. I'm saying that to warn you because everyone needs to see this video. Everyone needs to hear this story, but unfortunately, once you do, you will never be the same human being again. This is Decca Haji and her children, Muhammad, Manal, and her identical twins, Masab and Mahad. Now you're probably thinking, identical twins, Peyton, those children do not look alike at all. And here's a gold star for you. Save that until later. I promise it's going to be important. No, these identical twins do not look identical at all, but not by accident. See, he wasn't born this way. This wasn't the life that Mahad was supposed to have. Mahad's current condition, the one that he's stuck in for the rest of his life, is the result of years of torture, medical malpractice, and systematic separation from his family by multiple institutions who are all trying to cover up the same lies. And while they've been torturing Mahad at the hospital, they've been torturing his family back home by relentlessly harassing them, lying about them, investigating them, and even literally criminalizing them. The people who have only been trying to save Mahad's life since the day that he was born. Every horrific thing these institutions have put this child and this family through these last 4 years has been intentional to cover up lie after lie after lie. But to give you the full story, we need to go back 4.5 years ago, when Decca Haji was pregnant.
There was an obsession with my pregnancy from the beginning. They wanted to keep a close eye on me, and I would go into the hospital, Mount Kyramaiii, and fetal and maternal medicine at least 2 times a week. A lot of these examinations I did not want to take place. I understood the nature of these examinations. I am a registered nurse, and I understood the risk that all of these invasive internal monitoring every week, multiple times a week could do. During one of the visits that they wanted me to come to, the technician pushed the probe deeper than she should, and I had bleeding, but I was told that it was no problem and I was sent home. And I do believe that was the first injury that my son sustained. January 25th, I went into spontaneous labor, and I was admitted into the hospital, Mount Kyramaiii. I was put under, and I received what is called the regional epidural, which is only from my waist down. So I was awake and lucid and alert. Once they cut me open, I was eagerly waiting for my babies to cry, 2 healthy babies. As soon as they cut me open and they pulled the first baby out, which is Mahad, right away the air in the room was very, very tight. The doctors and the nurses were looking at each other. I am able to see above the drape. You can see people's facial reactions. I just could not see below. As soon as they looked at each other, and when the child cried a very high-pitched cry, as if someone pinched the baby, and he's never cried again. That pause was so long. It was so uncomfortably long, and they moved on without providing me an answer. And then they pulled the second baby, and he was crying and throwing his hands and feet up. In the condition that they were in, it was very visible that baby A was not normal.
Quick outfit change because my dog ruined my shirt. Let's recap to help you get your bearings, because if you think what you just heard was bad, that was nothing. It's going to get biblically worse. So Mount Carmel St. Anne's is making Decca come in 2 times a week while she's pregnant with twins, which she felt was excessive. She ends up being right. Someone improperly sends a fucking metal probe up inside of her and causes her to start bleeding. And then this hospital tells this bleeding pregnant woman everything's fine. Eventually, she has an emergency C-section at the same hospital. When they remove her first child, Mahad, the room goes silent. The only noises heard are from medical utensils slamming against a tray and Mahad letting out one loud screech. She's asking what's wrong. They're not answering her. They remove her second child. They hand both of her children to her, and this is what her identical twins looked like. As you can see, there is a visible vein protruding from Mahad's head that was not present with his brother. And keep in mind, in person, this was much more visible than it clearly is here. So Mahad wasn't moving like his brother. He wasn't crying like his brother. He had a visibly protruding forehead vein, unlike his brother. And Decca is told everything's fine, and they discharge her and her children against her wishes 5 days later. Then, 8 weeks later, after 2 months of repeated hospital visits and constantly trying and failing to convince the hospital that her child was not okay and needed to be properly treated, Decca's worst fears came true. And from this point on, I cannot stress enough that everything you're about to hear and see is fucking vile. So be prepared.
One night as he was getting fed by his father, he regurgitated, and instead of formula, he regurgitated blood. These were some of the concerns that I was reporting to his primary care provider. All of these visits, I reiterated that Mahad and his twin were not the same. Every time we were feeding him, it felt like he was going to aspirate. I was told that it was possibly because a digestive issue. They changed their formula 3 times in those 3 visits that they had with the primary. 8 weeks later, my worst nightmare came true. What I was fearing happened. As Mahad was feeding, he aspirated and regurgitated. Blood came out from his mouth and nose. That night, he was rushed to Nationwide Children's Hospital. Scans were done, and that's when it revealed that a vein in the left lobe of his brain got disrupted, and the entire 8 weeks we had him home, he was slowly bleeding in his head.
This night is everything. Up until now, I'm guessing you've been assuming that Mahad's current condition is a result of his birth injury and thus the fault of Mount Carmel St. Anne. No. Mount Carmel is only one guilty party, and what they did to Decca and Mahad is going to look childish compared to the others. The truly evil actions that have been committed against them have been committed by Nationwide Children's Hospital and CPS. That night, almost 4 years ago, when Mahad's father, Saeed, rushed him to Nationwide Children's Hospital, he had no idea that that would be the night Mahad Muhammad would never come back from. 6 days in, within a week, doctors deliberately ignored instructions necessary to relieve Mahad's brain brain fluid and pressure, which resulted in his brain fluid tripling. This led to Mahad being placed in a permanent vegetative state. And unfortunately, it doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. Over the last 4 years, Nationwide Children's Hospital has tortured this child. That is a definable fact. There is no other way to describe it. Here's just some of the injuries that Nationwide Children's has inflicted on this child who is again in a permanent vegetative state.
He's had both of his femurs fractured. These are the biggest bones in our body. He's had his radius dislocated. He's had his jaw dislocated. Number of bruising. They said that he was ready to be extubated from the ventilator machine. I knew he was not ready. Before someone is extubated from a ventilator, they have to prove they can breathe on their own. But they wanted to still extubate him, which they did extubate him, and he epically fell. He was breathing at a rate of 7 breaths per minute. He was turning purple. I remember they kept saying that they wanted him to fly, and I kept saying that he needed wings to fly, and they were not providing him with the wings. They stood there and watched him suffer for nearly 8 hours before they finally said, okay, fine, we will intubate him again. Mind you, they just extubated him less than 7-8 hours ago. His airway's inflamed. He has a compromised airway, difficult intubation. There are machines that are designated for people with difficult airways that are hard to intubate. The machine was sitting right at the doorway, but they chose not to use the machine, but rather give 5 residents a chance each to see if they can intubate him. They all 5 failed and could not intubate him. This came at a cost of Mahad never eating again. They shattered his entire upper airway. He will never swallow again. They have not suffered any repercussions. In fact, they gained a manicate, a non-verbal life manicate. He cannot tell them to stop. He cannot say something is hurting, something is burning. He goes under medical procedures that an adult would not go under without anesthesia, and they would say because he doesn't appear to be in pain. But there is no way for him to tell them that he's in pain. Everything that happens under their care is classified as accidental with his care. All of these injuries that Mahad sustained all happen under their care. And we went through investigations for every single one of them. After they are determined that they are not our fault, they will be classified as accidental with his care.
At this point, you've probably got a couple of questions. Chief among them, why the fuck is this child still at this hospital? That night when Saeed rushed Mahad to Nationwide Children's Hospital, they immediately called CPS and placed Mahad under an alias, trying to profile Saeed as an abuser. Yeah, Decca and Saeed didn't get to stay in the hospital with their son that night because they got rushed back to their house by police and CPS, who did warrantless searches of their house and also subjected all 3 of their children to rigorous testings at the hospital to make sure they weren't abusers. Obviously, these tests proved that these children weren't being abused, so obviously they got to keep their children, but what about Mahad? He's still at the hospital. Don't worry, his tests came back and they showed that he actually had chronic brain bleed, which is consistent with his birth injury, so that makes sense, except 2 weeks later. Yeah, when Mahad first got to the hospital, Nationwide Children's needed his birthing records from Mount Carmel St. Anne's, so they sent out for them. Then a couple days later, they got back the results of the tests. It's chronic brain bleed. Then, 2 weeks later, Mount Carmel St. Anne's sent over his birthing records. They switched his test results from chronic to acute. Somebody actually did do this. That's what we're saying now. They then gave those false results to CPS, pointed at Saeed, and said he's the one that had to have done it, and then police and CPS investigate Saeed. So while they were dealing with Saeed possibly going to prison for a crime he didn't commit, they were also dealing with the hospital constantly trying to keep Decca out by any means necessary and not trying to give her rights to her child. As they're trying to deal with this hospital stealing their child from them, they're also getting legal representation for Saeed's felony. Except, oops, the lawyers they hired actually were court appointed. They didn't know that. They weren't informed of that. They ended up spending $30,000 on these lawyers who extended their trial for 2.5 years. Then in December of 2024, the charges were mysteriously dropped. Saeed's good. There's no more charges. We're fine, right? No! The lawyer and CPS did not inform the courts of this, so they went on with the trial anyway, and the lawyer convinced Saeed to take a deal where he would just admit guilt. She even specifically made sure that Saeed was alone for their meeting because he's incredibly bilingual. He's usually not alone because he doesn't understand English very well. So this lawyer stole $30,000 from them and got Saeed to admit to a crime that not only did he not commit, but he wasn't even being charged for. So right now they are trying their hardest to get a felony off of his record for a crime that he never committed because they have a court hearing in a month and a half, and it's their last shot to get their child back from these evil people before they fucking kill him.
We have realized that silence protects injustice. What Muah endured is injustice. We want people to know that despite all of these inhumane practices that have taken place with our family, that we are humans. Muah is a human. He has a heart. He feels pain. He belongs with his family that loves him, that has fought for him from the moment that he was born, and will never give up on him. We are also seeking restitution from all of the agencies that are involved. What happened to our child and the injuries that he sustained were not by faith. He was not born with these injuries. They were inflicted onto him, and now he has no quality of life. The amount of federal and state laws that have been broken in the process of covering up the truth and what actually happened to our child is unheard of. It implicates too many people in powerful places. We feel completely defeated. We are up against a system that is systematically designed against us. I want anyone that's watching me, especially the families that look like me, to know that they can speak their truth, that they do not have to be afraid. No parent should have to fight this hard to hold on to their child, to care for their child, to hold their child, and to comfort their child. As you saw my son, he needs the presence of his mother and his father and his brothers and sisters. He was completely robbed of life. And to justify that, we have been criminalized in all the court systems. Seems like our entire life has came down to us just being in the survival mode. Constant fear and terror we live under. We have been traumatized, completely traumatized by this process. It is by far the most devastating and most painful experience of my life. We just wanted to be left alone. We just wanted to hang on to our son. We want transparency. We want restitution for what happened to our son. And we want all key stakeholders to be investigated independently so the truth can be told. Our constitutional, civil, and parental rights have been violated. I have been completely stripped of my parental rights. Our child belongs to us.
The only good thing about this horrific situation is that you can help. There are 2 petitions in my bio. We need as many signatures as possible. There's also Decca's GoFundMe for her legal defense. She needs as many donations as possible. And the last thing you can do is share the hell out of this video. Copy a link, do a bunch of different stuff. I mean, this is the most horrific shit ever. Decca is an incredible person. What her family is going through is like, they need help.
As you've seen, it's honestly unbelievable that a human being can inflict so much pain to an offspring that has nothing to do with what I want to know is what compelled them to harm that poor innocent boy. I've watched too many true crime documentaries, and there was this one nurse that loved inflicting pain on newborns and playing God. So I'm not surprised that this has happened, but I'm just shocked that this happened at the same time. Because it's like, those stories were years ago and they're still happening. Same as the situation with the 2 black women that were mistreated when they were in labor, in active labor at that. When will it stop? When will it stop? When will it be where black women and women of color can feel safe to have children? They're talking about birth rates are dropping. Yes, we don't want to go through this shit. We don't want to go through this anymore. You know what they said statistically? Black women are more likely to get rushed to C-section than a non-black women. They will try everything in their power to naturally get this baby out of a white woman. But if it was a black woman, they were like, there's no other choices. We're just going to have to take it. Because that's where the money is at. The C-sections. I've even heard that they inject the mother with autism like shots so that their babies could be born with autism. I've heard a lot of things they do in the medical field to black women, and it's sick. The first thing they want to do is rush you to C-section. Oh, your body can't do it, so... And they try to scare you from doing it. They try so hard to scare you from delivering vaginally. Oh, the baby's heartbeat's dropping. While they're injecting you with shit that's gonna make your baby's heartbeat race. Yeah. If you actually, like, look into this type of stuff, yeah. Also, the part where they, when he was in the belly and the nurse jabbed that thing a little too hard to check the babies on purpose. Oh yeah, I say on purpose because I've had a nurse who was doing an ultrasound on me because I've, been pregnant before and stuff. So I've had a nurse literally, like, when she was doing the vaginal ultrasound, she like shoved that shit, like, she slowly put it in, but she like was like pushing it way too deep, and it was hurting me, like as if she wanted me to, miscarry or something. So I'm not surprised that happened to her, because they do that to us. They will literally target our babies from the moment they're in our bellies. Literally. And it's sick. What Decca and her family went through is devastating, honestly. Or what they're going through and what they went through. It's just sad that I'm just now finding out about this story. I am going to put the links in my description box down below for the GoFundMe and the petition. I did sign the petition, and I did donate $10. That's all I can afford. Sadly, I just, it was in the heat of the moment. That's what I knew. I had enough in my bank account. Maybe I should wait until I got paid again. But for me, it was like urgent. It just felt like an urgent matter. Like I had to donate money as soon as possible. I do a lot of silent donations. I never post about it, but I'm just mentioning this because I'm letting you guys know that I'm not just telling you guys this information. I'm actually doing something about it, and which is something that a lot of people need to get into, is like, don't just talk about a situation, actually invest in it, your own money. But I'm gonna leave the links in there, and I want you guys to watch a few more things. The whole video just made me very sad. Like, I literally started crying. I think I was crying for like, I think I was crying for like a good hour and a half, just staring at the screen like, why? Why would they do that to a baby? Like, people who harm babies, kittens, puppies, just, you don't deserve to live. You shouldn't harm people in general, but when you harm a baby or baby animals, you don't deserve to live. I'm sorry. I think you shouldn't be alive. Like, you are the devil. Oh my God! I don't care what anyone says. And I hope and pray, with the support of us reposting and sharing, their GoFundMe and their petition, that we are able to get them justice, because they need justice, especially in the Somali community. I know they don't really go hard for their people. This is the time. If you're really, about it, get to it. Donate $10, $5, donate whatever you can, even $1. Something. It helps, part of the black community. It's not just affecting Somalis, it's also affecting the black Americans, Africans, Congolese, whatever you may be. As long as you are this skin tone or darker, you are also at risk for being treated this way. Don't say just because it's not happening to you right now, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen to you in the future. That same thing that she said, that the doctor jabbed the thing in her vagina, that same thing happened to me, and I was 19. So yes, don't ever say it will never happen to me, because it can't, in fact, happen to you. So if you can spare just a little money, like $5, $1, $10, whatever you can afford to donate, please donate. I really, really want to see Decca get her baby back, and get justice for her baby, because that. Do you know how hard it is to carry twins? And I didn't even get to the 3rd trimester, so it's hell. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. It's not fun. It's hell. And for her to go through a twin pregnancy, a singleton is already hard as it is, but a twin pregnancy or a multiples pregnancy is 10 times worse than if you were to be just doing one pregnancy, which was one baby, right? She went through that, and it's very rare to get pregnant with twins too, let's be honest. It's all about genetics. She went through all that pain and suffering, right? Being pregnant, being blessed to have 2 babies at once with God's good blessing. And then she was mistreated during her pregnancy, and then gave birth via C-section, had to heal from that while taking care of her baby who's been mistreated. And then now they're trying to put her husband in jail. They tried to put her husband in jail, which he went to jail, and they called CPS on them, trying to take her kids away, all due to just to silence her. She will not be silenced. I rebuke that. That is not happening. In the name of Allah, that's not going to happen. No. So that being said, let's put our coins together. You know what I mean? And let's help this family out. Like I said already, I'm going to be linking everything in the description box below. I'm also going to link that video in the description as well, so that you guys can go watch it, and you know, if that's faster for you guys. But I am going to put the link to the video, not the video, the GoFundMe and the petition in my description box down below. But on a lighter note, there's one more clip about the story real quick, and then on a lighter note, the guy did end up visiting the family, and I'm just gonna let you guys watch it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and please do donate. I just wanted to make an awareness of this, because like, this means so much to me, that if you guys can contribute and help. I wanted to help if I could. I felt like just donating $10 was not enough. I felt like I had to make a video about this. There was another video I was going to record for the month of March, but I'm putting that on hold and posting this because I feel like this is more urgent than that video. I'll probably post that video for next month. But yeah, I want you guys to just think about it. And if you can't donate money because you're too young or you don't have the money for it, simply just share this video and share the petition, sign the petition. The petition is free. So that's all I ask of you guys. Please help this family out. I really want this to happen. Especially in the month of Ramadan. Imagine being reunited with your child and getting justice in the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. Like that would be so beautiful for them. It's like getting it's like for like the Christians and in Christmas, you know, and getting that one blessing in Christmas Day. It's the same thing in the month of Ramadan. It's like the same feeling. So in this holy month of Ramadan, if you can find it in your heart to donate even $5 to help this family, that'd mean a lot to me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
And to justify that, we have been criminalized.
I've got updates, and as you can see, I've dressed up for the occasion. But before I give you the updates, now that you know Decca's story, let's talk about what she needs right now. First and foremost, she urgently needs a criminal defense attorney, someone who specializes in post-conviction relief and wrongful conviction cases. This has to be addressed first because the felony on Saeed's record is blocking their ability to pursue Mahad's medical malpractice case and damaging their credibility in other legal proceedings, specifically their family court proceedings, ultimately hampering hampering their ability to bring Mahad home. Secondly, they need a family law attorney, someone who's experienced in juvenile court, permanent custody filings, CPS cases, and parental rights defense. Third, they need forensic and medical experts. They need pediatric neurologists. They need brain injury experts. They need forensic pathologists. They need medical malpractice experts, and they need physicians willing to review records and testify. Those are the things that they desperately need right now. So if you know somebody that can help facilitate in any of these ways, or you are somebody that can help facilitate in any of these ways, please contact me. If you don't know somebody or aren't somebody, please share this video. You guys blew up her other video. Her story is out there and going viral right now, so thank you so much. Hi!
Hi, everybody. I came to visit Peyton today. Thank you for everything that you have done. You're truly an amazing human being, you know that?
I'm not putting that in there, I promise.
Yes, you are.
Just say hi.
He's too humble to let you guys know who his true self. But I will let you guys know this man is the man that just stopped everything in his life to focus on my family and our issues, and we appreciate him.
Okay, well, we appreciate you.
He wants to talk about everybody else in the world with himself.
Okay, we appreciate you. That's Decca. She's amazing. Thank you. Decca Haji and her family. Decca Haji.
I should keep it real, everyone.
High volume.
Am I really that much?